You're watching Yale at Night.
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you all for coming through. Shout out to Almond Eyes, Poppy Blanco. Who else we had in the building earlier? We had in here earlier today. Almond Eyes, Poppy Blanco, Malika. Thank you guys for coming through early in the stream. Hassan, shout out to you as well. Miss S. Eds, good to see you, sis. How are you? Can y'all hear me? Press 1 if my sound is okay for me. Thank you. Press 1 if my sound is okay. This is going to be a quick live. I'm not going to hold you long. I just want to kind of cover it real quick and be in and be out. But if you would like to speak on this topic, the call-in link is pinned to the top. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Let's see it. It's shockingly easy to be falsely accused by a female. All it takes is a claim, and they will falsely accuse a man or another female. They don't discriminate. Once accused, you're often presumed guilty, not innocent. You can be arrested based solely on the accusation, spend weeks or months in jail, lose your job, your reputation, your friends, before you even have a chance to defend yourself. Clearing your name means possibly hiring lawyers, fighting bias, public opinion, gathering evidence others don't even bother to look at, and enduring emotional and financial devastation. Even after being proven innocent, the damage to your life can still last forever. Justice is not just about the truth. It's about surviving a system that punishes you first and listens later. In this video, we're exploring the case of Mahendra Patel, a 57-year-old man from Kennesaw, Georgia, who faced serious charges following an incident at a local Walmart. On March 18, 2025, at a Walmart in Ackworth, Georgia, Mahendra Patel was involved in an incident that led to his arrest. A mother, Carolyn Miller, accused Patel of attempting to kidnap her 2-year-old son. According to Miller, Patel asked us for assistance finding the Tylenol. When she pointed it out, she claimed he grabbed her son from her arms. Following the accusation, Patel was arrested on March 21st and charged with attempted kidnapping, simple battery, and simple assault. He was held without bond in Cobb County Jail for over 45 days. Patel's attorney, Ashley Merchant, contested the charges, presenting surveillance footage from the store. The video, according to Merchant, shows Patel interacting with Miller, who was in the motorized scooter with her children. Merchant argued that Patel leaned in to assist, believing the child was about to fall, and that there was no intent to abduct.
56-year-old Mahendra Patel is in the Cobb County Jail charged with attempted kidnapping. Ackworth police say last month, Patel tried to snatch a little boy from his mother's arms inside this Walmart on Cobb Parkway. Patel's attorney, Ashley Merchant, says this video she shared with Fox 5 shows that's not what happened.
You can see when Mr. Patel enters the store. You can see when he first encounters Miss Miller.
Caroline Miller is in the motorized cart. She has one child at her feet, another child in her lap. In the video, Patel's back is to the camera. Merchant says her client is simply asking where the Tylenol is, not trying to steal her little boy.
You can't see this tug of war or grabbing back and forth. You see him lean in. And I mean, it's very likely that he was doing exactly what he says, which is trying to stop the child from falling.
Later, after Patel leaves the area, you can see Ms. Miller crash into a display case and one child falling. Another man steps in to help. The video goes on to show Patel with the Tylenol and even showing it to Ms. Miller.
He shows it to her and she gives him a thumbs up.
He checks out, paying with his debit card, and talks to employees on his way out of the store.
Not fleeing, not in a hurry, not running away, nothing like that, not trying to hide what just happened or anything. You don't see anything.
Ackworth police released a statement saying, while they are limited to the details they can provide to preserve the integrity of the case, they are aware of the partial video that has been released to the public. Merchant says there are approximately 70 hours of surveillance video. She says she released segments that show the interaction between Patel and the little boy's mother.
I tried very carefully to make sure that all different angles were able to be viewed. Perhaps they could go back and actually watch the rest of the surveillance videos and see.
And Patel has been indicted on 3 charges: attempted kidnapping, simple battery, and simple assault. He has now been in the Cobb County Jail for 27 days.
New tonight, the Cobb County Democratic Committee is calling on Cobb County officials to release Mahendra Patel. He's the man arrested and charged by Ackworth police for attempted kidnapping at a Walmart store here in this video. But the committee says the video evidence released by his attorney clearly shows his innocence. Fox 5's Eric Mock is live. Eric, you spoke one-on-one with the chair about this. What did he have to say?
Yeah, Essence Johnson, Eric, did say that in no uncertain terms that they are calling for the immediate release of Patel based on that surveillance footage released by his attorney. Now, we first reported to you back in March about Ackworth police arresting and charging 56-year-old Mahendra Patel for allegedly trying to snatch a toddler from its mother's arms. But Patel's attorney, Ashley Merchant, has since shared surveillance video from the Walmart that appears to show Patel calmly asking the mother of the toddler about Tylenol, and then later calmly exiting the store. Now, that's why Johnson says she and the Democratic Committee are calling on Cobb County District Attorney Sonia Allen to drop all charges against him.
So my demands are him to be released, his charges to be dropped, and his record to be sealed.
And we checked Cobb County inmate records. Patel is still in the jail and has been incarcerated there for more than 40 days. We reached out to Ackworth police about this case. We're waiting to hear back from them today. But when we first reported about this surveillance video on April 18th, they told us they were aware of this and said it was a partial video that was being released, and then would only say that a grand jury indicted Patel on attempted kidnapping, simple battery, and simple assault. Now, Johnson says they've reached out to the Cobb County District Attorney's Office with these demands and didn't hear back. But we reached out today and did get a response from the Cobb County District Attorney's Office. They told us in a statement, quote, "We are prohibited from publicly discussing the facts of any pending criminal charge case outside of formal court proceedings. Mr. Patel has a bond hearing scheduled for Tuesday, May 6th. At that time, the facts and evidence in this matter will be appropriately addressed."
On May the 6th, 2025, a bond hearing was held. Judge A. Gregory Poole granted Patel a $10,000 bond, citing his strong community ties and the surveillance evidence.
Judge, we are here because the state has accused Mahendra Patel, and he goes by Mick, but Mick Patel, of, at first it was kidnapping, and then it moved to attempted kidnapping. So he was arrested on March 21st of 2025 for an incident that allegedly happened at a local Walmart on March 18th. The officer took out a warrant for kidnapping, not attempted, assault, and battery. Subsequently, the state indicted that case on April 3rd. We had a bond and probable cause hearing scheduled for April 16th. But when the state indicted it, they indicted it for attempted kidnapping and then misdemeanor assault and misdemeanor bond. So we were not able to have that bond hearing. Mr. Patel was not given bond at first appearance. At that time, he was charged with kidnapping of a minor. The state essentially is alleging that Mr. Patel had an interaction with a lady named Caroline Miller at this local Walmart. They've said that Ms. Miller was pointing to Mr. pointing out to Mr. Patel where the Tylenol was in the store, and that Mr. Patel grabbed the child and started pulling the child away from Miss Miller. Miss Miller has said that they engaged in a back and forth and a tug of war, as she described it, for 10 seconds before she was able to finally get the child back. Luckily, we have video. The video shows that Mr. Patel did lean in to Miss Miller and her child. They were in a handicapped scooter, mobility cart. There's different names. She is admittedly not handicapped, has admitted to that publicly, and was riding it because her child liked to enjoy it, sort of like a joyride. So he enters the Walmart at 8:17. Then at 8:18, you can see him enter the pharmacy area. And then you can see at 8:19, he's looking for the Tylenol. So, and at the same time, he had his cell phone and he was actually texting his daughter, who's here, because he cares for his 86-year-old mother who has osteoarthritis and requires a special kind of Tylenol. So it was this rapid release gel Tylenol. He was trying to find it. And the daughter who was helping him, the daughter who also has cared for the mother, was actually sent him a picture. So we've actually asked for the cell phone to be returned because we wanted that evidence. But the state, when we asked for it to be returned, they took out a search warrant for it. So it's still in their custody. But we've seen those. And so we know that he was texting about this Tylenol. The first interaction that he has with Miss Miller is at 8:21. And that's the first time you see them. She's in this scooter. He's got his hands in his pockets. This is what I'll call the first interaction. Then you see her sort of puttering along in the mobility cart, and you see her sort of clip the corner. There's an end cap display case. Sort of clip the corner of that end cap display case, stop. And at 8:21 and 45 seconds is when you see Mr. Patel lean in. And what we've talked to the witnesses and how it's sort of been described by a lay witness was like a father, like the child's reaching for Mr. Patel like a dad, you know, like if you walk up to a baby and they reach for you, and Mr. Patel leans in and reaches for the child like a father would, is how it was described. Mr. Patel offered to hold the baby while she got up to show him where the Tylenol was, to point, because she's trying to point at that time. And he believes fully that she's handicapped, and she's got two young children. One is actually at her feet. So it's this mobility cart with the basket that you're supposed to put groceries in. And then one child's actually at her feet and the one's sitting on her lap. Thinks that she needs help. He's been described by many people as a very friendly older gentleman. Leans in. You can see this, you'll see this, leans towards him. Miller leans back. He immediately backs up, puts his hands back in his pocket. You see him back away at 8:21 and 51 seconds, put his hands back in his pocket, and she actually continues to stand up, point out where the Tylenol is, and he continues to walk towards the Tylenol. At 8:21 and 57 seconds, you see him leave and go to the Tylenol. Then less than 5 seconds later, you see Miss Miller back up. She actually backs into the display case at this point. The display case visibly moves. Then you see her run over her child's foot. Her child actually does fall out of the cart. She runs over the child's foot, and another bystander who's there, who had witnessed the other interaction with Mr. Patel earlier, he had been right there within arm's reach. The gentleman who described it as like a father, interaction. That gentleman jumps in and grabs the child because the child's foot is sort of under the mobility cart. At this point, that gentleman, and his name is Mr. Leyva. He's on the warrant, so that's public record. His name is Mr. Leyva. So he is talking with Miss Miller at that point. And then you see Mr. Patel sort of have a brief interaction with them as he's walking to get another employee. So this is the second interaction, but the first interaction after this alleged kidnapping. Mr. Patel then goes and finds a Walmart employee, and this is at 8:23 and 09. The employee comes back and takes him to find the Tylenol. Miss Miller's creeping along, and Mr. Patel and Miss Miller Mr. Patel and this Walmart employee walk past Miss Miller in the mobility cart. She says nothing. Mr. Patel goes, gets the Tylenol with this employee. So this is the third interaction. He finds the Tylenol. He leaves the pharmacy area. And at 8:25 and 19 seconds, the fourth interaction with Miss Miller, he walks past her and he shows her the Tylenol. Like, hey, look, I got what I was looking for. Like everybody had been helping him. Nobody could find this Tylenol. He shows it to her and she gives him a thumbs up. Then you see at 8:27, Miss Miller is talking with that same Walmart employee. At the same time, you see Mr. Patel waiting in line to pay for the Tylenol. He pays with his debit card. He gets it in a bag, he walks towards the exit, and then you see him for about 30 seconds talking with a Walmart employee, you know, the people that check your receipts at the end, joking, talking with that employee, taps him on the shoulder. You can see he is friendly with everybody. Talking with all the employees, you know, things like that. He's a very friendly gentleman. You can see that. The entire interaction that Mr. Patel was in Walmart was 11 minutes. He interacted with Ms. Miller 3 times after she claims that he snatched her baby. There were lots of employees around, lots of people around for all of these interactions. Nobody stopped. Nobody says anything. There was a gentleman within arm's reach. Nothing. Nobody screams. Ms. Miller waited 5 full minutes to actually tell a Walmart employee. The employee had to try to convince her to call the police. We've interviewed this employee, said it was very surprising, didn't know why she didn't want to call the police. She just wanted to report it to Walmart. She waited a full 30 minutes to actually call the police. She was outside with her father and called and said, you know, hey, I'm sorry it took me so long to call you, but I got my baby back. Mr. Patel didn't flee. Mr. Patel was in for a while after this alleged interaction. He was in Walmart for almost 10 minutes after this alleged interaction, still looking for the Tylenol. He talked to at least 3 employees after this alleged interaction. So during this time that the police have said that he fled, he remained in Walmart for a full 8 minutes. He talked to 3 different employees, and he passed Ms. Miller 3 times. He used his debit card, and then he waited at the door and talked to an employee for over 30 seconds.
Patel was released later that day, expressing gratitude for the support he received during his incarceration.
In jail for crimes Mahendra Patel says he didn't commit.
A lot of ups and downs in the days, but I knew we had a team outside helping me.
We were there as he walked out of the Cobb County jail with his family and attorney.
Here's my daughter. She's Elena is the champion. She's the one who worked day and night for me. And she's the one got Ashley on a team.
Patel walked into a packed courthouse of supporters wearing yellow this morning for a bond hearing. Patel's defense attorney presented this security video of Patel at a Walmart in Ackworth looking for medicine for his elderly mother in March when he encounters Caroline Miller, who is not disabled, in a motorized scooter with her 2 children.
Mr. Patel offered to hold the baby while she got up to show him where the Tylenol was, to point, because she's trying to point at that time. And he believes fully that she's handicapped. He told the police that he leaned in to pick the child up so that she could show him where the Tylenol is.
The state
This case garnered significant attention. The Cobb County Democrat Committee called for the charges to be dropped, citing the surveillance footage. An online petition supporting Patel's release amassed over 39,000 signatures. During the hearing, it was revealed that Patel had a prior conviction from 2006 federal white-collar conspiracy case and a 2020 reckless driving conviction. I didn't think any of that mattered, but despite this, the judge determined he wasn't a flight risk.
As I read the pleadings, I looked at it as possible evidence that he would come to court and that he is not a flight risk. Of course, I haven't seen the video, right? So I don't know what it's going to show me, but I'll let you do that. And just so everybody knows, I have my own monitor down here. I'm not staring at the floor.
As part of his bond conditions, Patel is prohibited from contacting the alleged victim like he wanted to talk to her or see her. And he was also prohibited from visiting Walmart. In my opinion, they should have banned that bitch from Walmart, not him. They're still punishing him, in my opinion, by banning him from the Walmart.
The burden of proof is on the defendant for when it comes to bond issues. That's Dunn versus Edwards, common spelling for both of those, 275 Georgia 458. The defendant must prove evidence as to each of the 4 Aiello factors. We haven't really heard about those four factors, so I'll give them to you now, Your Honor. I know you're aware of them. They're also codified statutorily in 17-16(1). They must prove that defendant poses no risk of flight, no significant danger to person, community, or property. Defendant poses no significant risk of committing a new crime, poses no significant risk of intimidating witnesses or obstructing justice. Of note, failure on any one of those factors would authorize the court to deny bond in this case. I will point out the case out of Cobb County, Constantino versus Warren, CONSTANTINO, 285 Georgia 851. Defendant is not entitled to bond as a matter of right on felony offenses that are under 90 days before indictment. In this case, when indicted within that 90-day period, to alleviate any concerns about the bond. So I say all that to say to the court that defendant is not entitled to bond as a matter of right. As we sit here today, it's entirely discretionary for the court whether or not to grant a bond, and that is where we stand, is that it is within the court's discretion to grant a bond, but you are absolutely not required to grant a bond, because we have moved expeditiously to make sure that the defendant was afforded his opportunity in court by indicting him in a timely fashion. I will note that the initial warrant was in the no bond stages, so there's been some chatter, allegations about the state's role in that. It was not the state that had anything to do with defendant's current no bond status. That was done at the magistrate court level by a magistrate judge that was passing on the sufficiency of the evidence in terms of looking at the warrant. I will tell the court, in reviewing this case legally under Garza and some of those things, we believe that kidnapping would be appropriate. Nonetheless, looking fully at the facts of this case, an attempted kidnapping certainly seems like a better charge, which is why we did have some urgency to get this case to the grand jury to make sure that we had the most accurate charge pleading in terms of the charging documents that we think is appropriate. Slight asportation is what's required for a kidnapping. I think the general public thinks about kidnapping, has this visual image of white vans just snatching kids off the street, and the court knows, and state knows, the defense knows, legal experts know that's not the legal definition of kidnapping. It's the slight asportation of a person against their will, and so the appropriate charge we deemed, and the grand jury agreed, is an attempted kidnapping. He's also charged with assault and battery as well for what happened. So you've heard a little bit about assertions of what defendant's connection is to the community and all of those kind of things in support of this. There's really not been a whole lot of testimony about the four IELA factors that I've articulated to the court. So I will tell you that the victim's mother is on this call. She's been in communication with the state. She's expressed to us her apprehension and trust in handling this case. She's been very deferential to the state. She is of the belief that defendant needs treatment. I too am of the belief that this defendant has got some serious issues, as we're about to talk about, and I want that to be a component of this discussion here. So because the defense has played one video, am I okay to sit down so I can use my laptop, Judge? Thank you. I want to show a zoomed in version of the clip. Yeah. And if you'll pay attention here, Judge, when you zoom in on it, you can actually see defendant grabbing this 2-year-old child. The child was 2 at the time, and tugging the child, seems to tug the child away from the mom. I'm going to show you a still version in a second too that actually shows the child's legs hanging over the lap of his mother as mom tries to pull her child back to her lap. You can see he's kind of in her space. I know there's narrated, edited version that was presented, by the defense. And sure, the state would say if you don't take a closer look, it might cause concerns. But when you do take a closer look, you can see him tugging on this child, and there's the legs, before mom is able to regain control of her 2-year-old and bring the 2-year-old back to her lap. So here's the actual, you can see the legs of the child dangling as
I absolutely cannot. Y'all just hear what he said. Did y'all watching the video, right? Can y'all hear me? Y'all are watching this video. Did you hear what he just said? I'm gonna go back a little bit and listen to what he just said.
as Mr. Patel tries to pull the child away. Listen, Judge, is this an unusual case? I would say it is. The state's not oblivious to the fact that this is a very bizarre set of circumstances. Nonetheless, this defendant reached down and grabbed a 2-year-old child from the lap of a woman in a Walmart at 8:30 at night and attempted to pull that child from her lap. The facts are not governed by the state here. The facts are governed by the choices of this particular defendant on this particular night, this particular public Walmart, as he encroached on the space of this mother and her two children. I will tell you that there's an employee that told the police that the defendant also touched her and that he said something like he loved her. There is some evidence of apparent intoxication on the defendant's part, and looking at his criminal history, it's not terribly surprising because it would appear that intoxication and alcohol issues are
Oh, I thought I had went back. Did y'all hear this craziness this man is spewing? What is he talking about? What y'all even heard? The court was kind of like laughing a little bit, and you're supposed to have outbursts in court, and they were like, "What?" I don't think I went back. Let me see. What was it?
Here's the actual, you can see the legs of the child dangling as Mr. Patel tries to pull the child away. Listen, Judge, is this an unusual case? I would say it is. The state's not oblivious to.
I didn't go back far enough, I guess. Let me see.
Show the zoomed in version of the clip. Yeah. And if you'll pay attention here, Judge. When you zoom in on it, you can actually see defendant grabbing this 2-year-old child. The child was 2 at the time, and tugging the child, attempting to tug the child away from the mom. I'm going to show you a still version in a second too that actually shows the child's legs hanging over the lap of his mother as
the child's legs hanging over. This dude is really trying. He's trying hard.
the mom tries to pull her child back to her lap. You can see he's kind of in her space. I know there's a narrated, edited version that was presented, by the defense, and sure, the state would say if you don't take a closer look, it might cause concerns. But when you do take a closer look, you can see him tugging on this child, and there's the legs, before mom is able to regain control of her 2-year-old and bring the 2-year-old back to her lap.
You hear them laughing like, dude, you just made up something in your head right quick.
So here's the actual, you can see the legs of the child dangling as
the child has legs.
Mr. Patel
The child has legs, y'all. He got 2 of them.
tries to pull the child away. Listen, Judge, is this an unusual case? I would say it is. The state's not oblivious to the fact that this is a very bizarre set of circumstances. Nonetheless, this defendant reached down and grabbed a 2-year-old child from the lap of a woman in a Walmart at 8:30 at night and attempted to pull that
At 8:30 at night.
child from her lap. The facts are not governed by the state here. The facts are governed by the choices of this particular defendant on this particular night, this particular public Walmart, as he encroached on the space of this mother and her two children. I will tell you that there was an employee that told the police that the defendant also touched her and that he said something like he loved her. There is some evidence of a.
So now somebody saying he touching on her. What is person at? Why are they bringing up other stuff? And then what if they gonna bring this up? Why is it even brought up in this case? I guess they want to, show character, but to bring up somebody else saying they got essay, or if you want to call it essay or whatever, or touched her inappropriately and said he loved her. What? Like, this guy reaching so far is crazy. It's almost, it's embarrassing. And in the court, and they're looking like they trying to hold it together. Like, dude, you trying, working hard for that check.
Police that the defendant also touched her and that he said something like he loved her. There is some evidence of apparent intoxication on the defendant's part, and looking at his criminal history, it's not terribly surprising because it would appear that intoxication and alcohol issues have been legally an issue for him in the past as well. The victim's mother, for your knowledge, is 26 years old. She was 5'3". She has 2 children. She was minding her own business at a Walmart when this defendant, 56, a convicted felon who served time in federal prison, get to that in just a second, who's out on bond on a pending.
She was minding her own business. Now, we know when we hit it online, I'm just minding my business. That don't mean I was minding my business. That means your ass was being nosy. You was over there setting up some shit. She was in that chair, like she handicapped, just to kind of get everybody's guard down so they won't feel intimidated, because they know how women are. They will be out here lying. Oh, well, she handicapped. Let me, me ask her. And now all of a sudden we go from that to now you in jail for over a month because you're just trying to get some help to find some Tylenol for your ailing mother. It go from that to now he's a felon and served his time, all these different charges. He touching some other person in the store and say he loved her. It was 8:30 at night. Look at the baby legs dangling. Just awful. All because this bitch in there acting like doing what she doing.
The intoxication and alcohol issues have been legally an issue for him in the past as well. The victim's mother, for your knowledge, is 26 years old. She was 5'3". She has 2 children. She was minding her own business at a Walmart when this defendant, 56, a convicted felon who served time in federal prison, get to that in just a second, who's out on bond on a pending case, 5'10", 240 pounds, made the choice that he's going to reach down and grab her child and try to pull that child off her lap. He was unsuccessful in doing so, which is why an attempted kidnapping is perhaps a better charge than the initially charged kidnapping, even though you can clearly see the slight asportation as is contemplated by the law.
I swear you can't even have a little drink. Now you're alcoholic. Now you're an alcoholic and a pervert. Harmonize where her man at, child. He got the hell on. I know he regret that. And this shit, they got 2 kids. I got somebody backstage. If y'all want to call in, the link is pinned to the top of the chat. But as soon as this is, I'm going to go ahead and close it down because I don't want to be up late. Got some plans. So I have in the backstage, I got Chin. Chin, are you ready to come up?
Oh, yeah.
How you doing? Thank you for joining.
I'm doing good, Gail. And how's everything with you?
All is well. Thank you for asking.
That's good. That's good.
So,
So
have you heard this story before?
I did. And well, put it this way. I heard when it first came out, then I heard about the accusations what that wasn't the way it seemed. And I never really got deep into detail with it until you just showed it. And to be honest, it's disgusting. It's quite totally disgusting.
Yeah, it is. This man, like, just to see how something so simple, innocent, if she was just minding her business, it's like I know she's done this before. People like this, and she doesn't hear. What did he say? Does anybody know how old she is? This somebody said was she in her 20s?
She said something about her 30s, I believe.
In the 30s.
Yeah.
So it's a career for her. She's done this before. She's done this before. I feel like she's done this before, and I can probably go and find some stories about it. But it's like bitches like this, this is a career for them. They don't have anything going on in their life, and so they sit up 27 Ed. Thank you, 27. My daughter, same age my daughter, almost basically. So she's never been held accountable for anything, and this is what she does for attention.
And I mean, it's sad because when you see the prosecutor even struggling to try to keep a story all together, even when he tries to narrate it, and I mean, legs dangling at 8:30 p.m. I mean,
right.
I mean,
well, okay, legs dangling when he got two, you pick the baby up, they dangle. What are we talking about? 8:30 when people just begin. What are we talking about? Like it's 2 a.m. or something. They in the alley.
Right. And I mean,
okay,
there are SA cases, trafficking cases, and of course, this prosecutor, I don't know if you caught on to this, the prosecutor tries to talk to the judge and explain how the public is stupid by saying that, oh, the public sees it as white vans pulling up. And I'm like, no,
we know better.
We definitely know better. And in fact, studies have shown most of this stuff is happening because the trust put into a certain adult, and they're just taking up the children because the trust that they have in them. Because you can't, I mean, I think we are in a generation today where if somebody just try to jump out of a car and snatch a kid, somebody's going to do something, somebody's going to scream, somebody's going to say something. So you know, and so you probably will want to do it in another way. You won't get so much attention from it. And this, from what I saw, I'm going with the defense on this one because I don't see, even when the kid's legs was dangling, quote unquote, at 8:30 at night, like if it's going to be something that was going to just blow the whole case out the frame and put him back at $100,000 bond. Right. I don't see the kid kicking a screaming or anything to that effect. Number one. Number two, it looks to me that the gentleman was straightening up the kid to get on the mother's lap properly.
Yeah, like he may be reaching or something for him or something like that.
I mean, like I said, what it looks to me, it looks like he had like dipped down to go grab him and then just picked him up to go put him straight on his mother's legs. Because when he leaves the shot, he's hanging off his mother's legs, both his legs.
And the kids are just all over the place.
Right.
So I mean, you can easily get, you know, the little, and they only 2 and 3 years old can get the little feet can get up on the little thing and whatever, and just you don't want to have them all over the place and just I don't know what she was doing.
Yeah, I mean, I suspect that woman has some mental issues, and the police and the prosecution is going to defend her mental issues to the death. because
at the expense of this man's life, they've been in jail. How many days? It was 45 in total.
yep.
That's over. That's a month and a half for something he did. All he wanted to do is come in Walmart. He might have had a drink or two before he probably at home, just chilling, just at home, just doing what we do at home sometimes, just chilling. And mama got sick or whatever, and she needed the Tylenol, a special kind of Tylenol for whatever she needed the Tylenol for. So he hop up, run to the store to go get it. Don't know, you know, how many Tylenols they have in Walmart. Like, man, shoot, which one I'm supposed to be getting? He on the phone with his daughter. They texting back and forth, trying to like, which one? Send me a picture, whatever. He asked the lady, well, I can't even call this is a hyena, clearly a hyena in this damn scooter. Hey, you know how I can get this kind of Tylenol, and she does help him, but that's all it was. Like, I just came in here for some Tylenol. I ain't even coming here for nothing else. I can't even go to Walmart for one thing and leave out of there with one thing. He came in for some Tylenol. He left out of there with charges.
Unfortunately, yep. And I mean, I myself, I know it all too well.
Yeah, have you been you a victim of something like that, or
Twice.
like essay or something, or what kind of accusation?
Well, the most recent was I spent a week in the county jail before I was actually transferred. And under the threat of being released from one county because Philadelphia refused to come and get me in a timely basis. See, I went to jail because an individual lied about me threatening him and acting like he was scared. The reason why he lied is because he recorded himself urinating on my wife's grave to post it on social media. And I guess I was supposed to go meet him and go fight him and stuff like that. So I opted not to, and I opted to press charges on the dude. I paid for the grave while you're at the gravesite, and you're coming from Philadelphia to do so.
Well, I'm sorry. Did you say they urinate on your wife's grave?
Yes.
What the? Who the hell do something like that?
Well, sick individuals, and that's very sick individuals. See, some people, they can't accept reality or the truth as is. And then you got some people with this ideology in their head that they can just sit back and mess with people and there's no repercussions to it. The woman that you played on the video, I'm sure she's part of that percentage of people making false allegations, doing crazy stuff, then making false allegations to hide the craziness that they are doing.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was over here on mute. So, like, what kind of like? So what were you accused of again?
Terroristic threats.
Like you online, over the phone? What you know this dude?
On Facebook.
You said it was a guy, right?
I'm sorry.
You said it was a guy, right? Or
yeah, it was a guy.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if you don't mind, if I can say names on here, I will say names, but you know.
Nah, I mean,
gotcha.
You got an open case, probably. You probably don't want to. I don't know.
Gotcha.
It's up. That's on you though. It's your case. I'm not.
Oh no, the case and everything is over with this particular individual, and in fact, I mean, him and others crossed the line to a point where things have gone federal. Let's put it that way.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is, the guy wanted to do that for his friends, quote unquote, and to try to show people he can bully others. But the fact of the matter is, when the fire was put to his own feet, then the tough guy persona went away. Now is running to police like a scared little girl, saying this, and that, and oh, this is a threat, and all this, and yada yada yada. But mind you, throughout the entire court case, and he did not show up on the last day of court, and I'll tell you why in a second. But throughout the whole entire court case, I asked my defense attorney to get the evidence from the prosecutor. Prosecutor didn't come up with shit. Excuse my language. Defense attorney didn't come up with nothing. And I'm like, okay, so we going basically off this guy's word. We don't have nothing. You said I said something on Facebook, yet I see nothing that you claim that I said. I see no evidence of anything that puts me to this particular profile you're saying I'm saying this on. And throughout the entire court case, that's exactly what it was. But he didn't show up on the last date because I had just produced the evidence on the reason why the false charges were in place in the first place.
Okay.
And then he would have to have been there as the witness. And my lawyer was ready to eat him anyway. So
yeah.
And so he didn't show up. The case was dismissed. But he felt as though like he wanted to keep going, and so he did, and he kept going and got a whole bunch of others involved in his madness. And let's just say they bit off more than they can chew at this moment.
JPWR asked, like, how do you know where your wife's grave was?
Well, my wife had lots of friends on Facebook, so I announced the funeral and stuff like that. But according to this guy's text messages to a friend of mine, and I quote, he said he spent over an hour and a half looking for this bee, unquote.
So he was in a graveyard looking for her marker?
Yep.
That's next level.
Next level.
On it.
Yep.
That's terrible. I'm sorry about that.
No, nothing to apologize. That person's an idiot. He knows he's an idiot. And that same person is hiding right about now. Let's just put that much out there, because you know what he did, and so does police.
Well, I hope you get justice, because that being falsely accused thing is nothing to play with. But
I mean, and the fact is, there are a lot of people that's falsely accused of things almost all the time, whether it be for money, for some sort of online notoriety,
sympathy, money,
sympathy,
even attention, money, all of that.
To me, because I used to work in children's mental health a long time ago. I was not a therapist or anything to that effect. No, I worked with a lot of them. But the things that were mandatorily taught to me, I mean, you can see the signs of having some sort of drug abuse or mental health history when you deal with them. I mean, put it this way. I will talk about really quick, because I got some things I want to handle myself, but I think this is a case. I'm not going to say no names, because this was once a client of mine's a long time ago. But put it this way. When I heard everything, it led me to drinking, and I don't really like to drink, like talking about it.
Yeah, you had something to escape the thoughts and what you had gone through.
Yeah. So I had a client that wanted services for her child. And for the work that I did, I had to go and meet with them, sit down, talk, take notes, and advocate with them to see what type of good services that they can get for their child.
Mm-hmm.
As I'm listening to the individual, she informs me about gang relations and stuff like that. So I flat out asked her, like, "You're in a gang?" She said, "Yeah." Low or high? She said high. All right. So what I mean by the low or high is she's low ranking or high ranking.
Is that like based on what they had to do to get into the gang? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and especially if you're high ranking.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yep. So as she was explaining her daughter's issues and stuff like that, she was telling me about her daughter's interest in being into a gang. So we talked about that for a second, and she tells me, well, my daughter's already in a gang. I said, oh. And well, how did she get into the gang? And she tells me that she was the one who allowed her to be in the gang. She's high ranking up there and stuff like that. Now, I know a lot of old gangsters, quote unquote, and all this other crazy stuff. I do know what they do in a particular set to get into this game. And she was affiliated with this particular set.
Okay.
So it breaks down to, now I see why the child is wilding out.
Mm-hmm.
The child was broken into the gang by 5 individuals her own mother handpicked to essay her.
Wow. That's some serious trauma.
It is, and especially when it comes from your own parent.
Your own parent. Yeah.
And, I'll be honest, at the time before my wife passed away, I was at a separation period with my wife, and I have girls. And I thought to myself, well, my wife, she's not in no particular gang, thank God, but when she meets somebody that is in a gang or whatever, just having crazy thoughts about what could be happening to my daughters, and having crazy thoughts just hearing his story, and it's bouncing back and forth in my head, and I'm trying to figure out how in the world can a parent do this to their child. A parent's job, if there's nothing else that you live for as a parent, your job is, if you have to even lay your own life down on the ground, is to raise your children, prepare your children for the world, love them, and show them all the love you want, that you need to show, and show them how evil this world can be. And especially as they understand the world a lot more than they were as kids. As kids, you protect them from much of the world, but as they grow up, you show them pieces of the world, or they start seeing pieces of the world. They come to you and ask you for advice. You give them the best advice you can.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you, when she told me that, I had to keep the most professional poker face possible, and that was not easy.
I bet.
And non-judgmental, because I'll be honest, there was a window. She was on the second floor, and I probably could have got off on a crime of passion. Like, you just don't do this to children. I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
Maintaining composure, asking the right questions, and then a hell of a lot of supervision and some time off, because I had to take supervision with my supervisor to discuss this. And I'm like, yeah, I'm shocked. I'm this, I'm that. I couldn't focus for a couple of weeks. Then I had to go and seek therapy because of that. Again, this was about 11 years ago now, going on 11 years ago. Yeah.
Wow. I know Jordan, he was saying that he was falsely accused of SA and inappropriate touching for saving an intoxicated lady from falling onto the MARTA train tracks. And that's a crazy thing. Like, we expect men to protect us and look out for us when we out in public. But first, I'm not, women, nobody, men or women should be out in public drunk to where they can't handle themselves. But I saw a video where Uber driver was on camera because he was taking a lady home. She was tore up. I don't even know. She probably only got home because her friend had to call the Uber for her. She probably wouldn't know how to tell the man to take her home. Like, anything could have happened to her. It wouldn't have been her fault, but at the end of the day, you don't need to be out there like that when you can't even defend yourself. And you can't name names, you can't name a face because you don't even know where you at because you're inebriated. I don't even know she was really like barely standing up on her own, and it was sad to see.
I mean, I know people watch Law and Order, and Law and Order takes bits and pieces of true events, and then they turn it in their own way and stuff like that. But in reality, it's nothing even close to that, because in some cases, some SA with unaliving even as well are not solved.
That's true.
It is literally cases today that's over 10 years old, 20 years old, and who knows if they will be solved. Now, there were cases that were able to be solved because of the way technology grows every day. But I mean, should we depend on technology that much?
Not that much. I don't think we should that much because I've seen technology fail. I did a show, I think it was a pre-recorded video a while back about how this black man was falsely accused for robbing a store in Houston. He wasn't even in the state when the robbery took place, but they used AI technology, and he went in to get his license renewed, and they locked him up in the DMV, and he ended up getting SA'd while he was in jail, just waiting. He was in jail, just waiting, and went to the bathroom and he got assaulted. So he has I got to check up on that case now because it's a big case because he's suing because they didn't even do proper investigation. If you have proof that he wasn't even living, like the basic thing, this is what the problem I have with police and investigation, which I don't feel like this is supposed to be common sense at this point, because you don't just take somebody's word for anything. It's something you can do right then to check and see if it's what they're being accused of is even remotely possible. And this is the thing with this gentleman who moving back to Houston. He wasn't even in the state at the time. He could have easily shown you his pay stub. He could have shown you, a few things where were you on this day? You know what I'm saying? When you're asking questions to solve a crime, where were you on this day? The day the store was robbed. He wasn't even in the state. He hadn't even been to that state in like years. Decided to move back. That's just one case of where AI and technology fail. So I think technology is great, but we shouldn't totally lean on it.
Yes,
I think we need a little bit of human touch, a little bit of, you know what I'm saying, before we just especially when it come down and you try to put somebody in, charge someone with a serious crime, and have them in jail for a long period of time.
Yeah.
This could have been. This didn't even take real technology. This is a camera. It's a camera. It ain't had to be no high tech camera to figure out this man wasn't trying to kidnap no baby. That's what I don't understand. I don't understand why it took so long for them to you know what I'm saying, for him 45 days.
No, because it's a business for them. It's a total business, and I understand. I mean, that court and investigators, they got other cases to deal with and stuff like that. But I used to work with Hindus. Now, I had to learn a lot because it's a culture shock when you're dealing with people from India. They, you'll find that some of their culture are similar and some are different. And even for me, because I have heritage from the West Indies, and people from India and people from the West Indies, we kind of share the same culture from a story from a long time ago. But I've worked around them. I know some of them smell like a bunch of Old Spice.
Don't be picking on my friends now.
Now I ain't picking on the friends. Some of them smell, a bunch of them smell like Old Spice, but some of them actually be drunk. And I mean, like if it was 10 of them, it'd probably be 1 or 2 that'd be drunk. The rest of them, that's their cologne. Or that's the fragrance that they like to wear and stuff like that. And it would smell like a lot of alcohol. And it would smell like it's alcohol they've been drinking, but it's not.
Okay, because I remember they were saying this Patel. I mean, I know if he was drinking something, that's his. He grown. I'm sure he very. So you probably saying they probably smelled his cologne. It probably wasn't. He probably wasn't necessarily drinking. That it was probably the cologne he had on.
Possibly, and then, like I said, I mean, if it was some drinking, I couldn't tell because I don't see certain movements happening where he's just falling all over the place or stumbling or anything like that. It looked like he had his balance. He looked like when he was up on the lady and the child, he really looked like he was picking the child up to put her back on the lap. Because like I said, as soon as he stepped back in that same particular picture frame, you see the young child dangling his legs off the mother's lap. So I mean, and that's my point. And people try to draw a whole nother scenario. I mean, I've seen it. I've seen it in the federal court.
Reaching.
Oh my God! But
yeah,
it's sick. It's a shame. It's crazy. It's about a million things except what the Constitution and the judicial and the police were actually put on the paper to do, which was to protect the rights and property of its citizens. And now it's just protecting liars and they go with the lie until they can't no more.
Right, they'll take a lot to their grave if they can, and they'll keep lying. They'll bring other folks into their lies, and it's wild how far they will go. But long as you have, this is why it's good to have receipts. It's good to have camera footage. It's good to have any kind of recording you may have to prove your innocence if it comes down to it.
Yes.
Yeah. So we got Private Nobody up on the panel. Private Nobody, how you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you up here with me. You're on mute if you're talking.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yep. I hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Yeah, this is another travesty. And they're trying to get the public not to believe what they see.
Isn't that something?
Yeah. It's like they're trying to program us not to believe what we see.
Looking right at it, and you're gonna tell me I'm looking right at a giraffe. And you telling me that's a kid?
Now, when they do it, if they have a trial, that's if they have a trial, they should be able to have better footage because they can sharpen it up, make it close up, so there will be no doubt. If he did do it, it'll be clear. If he didn't do it, it will be clear. I don't know how far they're going to go. You know, the judicial system is not about justice. I think we talked about this before.
We did.
It's a business.
It is.
It's a business. And it starts from the state and into the federal government. They're all public corporations for profit. If you don't believe it, go on Dun and Bradstreet. Every town, city, state, and the federal government, you'll see that they have a DUNS number. And if you have a DUNS number, that's a corporation.
Exactly.
So it's 100% about business, not guilt or innocent. And anybody that's arrested, they make money off the arrest. But if you get convicted, those bonds are worth even about 2 or 3 times over what they scheduled it to be. So it's all about profit. And the judges, the lawyers are in on it. And it's especially apparent in family court. Family court is a multi-billion-dollar business. And they put it on the backs of men.
Can I ask you a question, Mr. Private Nobody?
Yes, sir.
So you would agree with me when I say, like, for instance, you know the VAWA Act, VAWA Act, the Federal VAWA Act, right?
Mm-hmm.
You would agree to say that these domestic violence courts definitely gets paid because of that particular act from the feds every time they put up a body inside their courts.
Okay. That's true. And I want to answer something Jordan has said. It was funny. He basically said, I want a cash back.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, there are ways that you can access that, but you got to put a lot of time and study into it. Because if you go in wrong, they'll put you in jail, but you go in right, you can get that cash back. So I know you said it in jest, but in reality, it can happen. I don't play around with that, although I have the knowledge to do so, but I don't want to profit off of their corruption.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, and I don't blame you. I sometimes I sit back and watch videos of these First Amendment auditors and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I get what they're doing, and I actually commend some of them that actually ain't doing the most when they're doing it. You know, they're standing up for their rights and stuff like that. But you know, there's just a few of them that are brash and they're really eliciting a response. You know, but
the problem with a lot of those types is they're going off of half information.
Yep.
And to try to simplify what I'm trying to say is that what they're relying on, the Constitution, etc., it's not in play in this time within the state and federal governments. After the Civil War, there was a change in the Constitution. It went from the organic Constitution from 1789 to 1791, and then up to the Civil War. Remember, the Constitution was suspended for the war.
Yeah.
And it was never brought back. But what they did was they brought in a municipal Constitution for Washington, D.C. This is what we're going off of right now. All the states of, like the state of Georgia, the state of New York, the state of California, they're not on land states. Those are fictional states that you see on a map, but they're not real land. So all of these states of are considered franchises of Washington, D.C. So everybody that got a birth certificate, got a bank account, got a driver's license, your schooling records, all of that, you're considered, if you're in joinder with those documents, a United States citizen, and a United States citizen only appears in Washington, D.C. So everybody is tied to Washington, D.C. And this is why I say a lot of these people, like you mentioned, the auditors, and you have, the other types out there, and they're well-intentioned and they have some knowledge of what's going on. It's the application is what getting a lot of people in trouble. There's different jurisdictions going on simultaneously. The premier jurisdiction is the jurisdiction of God, which supersedes all. Even their own documents acknowledge that the Bible and God is supreme. You don't hear that often, but it's in their documentation. Number two, you have the organic constitution, which is still there, but rarely invoked. And then you got the Washington, D.C. federal constitution that came into effect. It started around 1806, and then they codified it just before the Civil War. And after the Civil War, they added on the 13th and 14th Amendments. And that's what's in play now. So you got three different jurisdictions going on at the same time. And most people who cite the organic constitution and they don't do it proper, it defaults to Washington, D.C. And if you appear in their court as a U.S. citizen, which most people say that they are, you're under the jurisdiction thereof mentioned in the 14th Amendment. So now, if you're under the jurisdiction thereof, you're the property of the Fed. What I do, I eliminate the organic and the DC, and I rely solely on the jurisdiction of God.
So,
And I had it acknowledged by the feds and the state. So I don't fall under a lot of things that a lot of people do because I'm not in their jurisdiction. Most people pledge themselves to the jurisdiction without even knowing it. And this whole system is voluntary in nature.
Yep.
It's voluntary in nature. When you sign those documents for a driver's license, for updated birth certificate or Social Security, all of these are contracts, agreements, or trusts that you're pledging yourself to the United States. You did it to yourself. But we just didn't know. It took me many, many years before I got a crystal clear picture of what's going on. Most people don't have a clue, and the most educated are the stupidest.
So, probably nobody. I know you have a network of people. Ray Hamner was asking about if you were. Do you know any civil rights?
You got muffled there. Can you repeat that?
Do you know any civil rights attorneys?
Not offhand. I kind of backed up working with attorneys because they're in the public. I operate from the private.
Private, okay.
Yeah.
Because he was also falsely arrested, and so he was trying to get some help on his case regarding that.
Yeah, and one of the worst thing people can do when you get trapped off is talk.
Yep.
I remember an ex-police officer who was also an attorney, and he advised people all the time, You're making the job of the prosecution easy when you talk. Remember, you have a right
To remain
not to
silent.
talk, so you don't incriminate yourself. And generally, when people talk in some way or another, they incriminate themselves, even if it's innocently, because the way they trick you into it. They're trained to get you to tell on yourself or have you to say something that would make you look guilty.
Yep.
Everything you say can and will be used against you. They mean that.
Yep.
They mean that. So I just seen one of those auditor type videos today. There was a black guy. He did well. He refused to answer questions. They asked for certain information. He didn't even hand it the license and the insurance to them. He stuck it to the window so they can read it off the window, because the law didn't say you had to surrender it. Just they can view it.
They can look at it.
Just look at it. Exactly. And so they were pissed off. I think it was two officers, a man and a female. And they couldn't get him to talk about anything. And they finally gave up and they let him go.
Yeah.
Because he didn't tell on himself. So the worst thing people do is talk. And that police officer and attorney said, do not talk to the police without an attorney.
Yep.
What's right?
Do not talk without an attorney. If nothing else has been gotten over tonight about dealing with police, I hope people take that away.
Yeah.
You or your loved ones get in trouble, do not talk. Say, I do not answer questions. I'm invoking the Fifth Amendment.
So private number, had you heard about this story about Mr. Patel?
Yes. The one you were talking about today. Yes.
Did you have an input on the situation, or any advice you would have given? Did he did anything wrong as far as how he handled it? I don't even know if he's said anything to the police.
Well, the way his attorney described it, and she did frame by frame description. By the way, she's a good attorney too.
Merchant.
Yeah. And she saw it as that he was trying to help. First, he was trying to get help from her where the Tylenol was. And then secondarily, he saw that the sun was falling off. So he helped the kid back up. And as you can see, after he did that, he just walked away. There was no commotion by the mother or anything. She did not panic or anything like that.
Right.
They went on their way.
Yep.
Then all of a sudden, hours after the fact, now it's a crime committed.
Yeah.
Now, if the man was trying to commit a crime, he would have probably ran. He would have looked scared. He would have been disheveled, whatever. He walked off normal, thanked her for telling where he got it. He even showed her that he got the Tylenol and he was on his way. And lo and behold, hours later, they come and arrest him. Now, I don't know what that prosecutor was saying.
Oh my God.
I don't think he
It was almost like the people in the court wanted to laugh at him.
You can hear them snickering. They couldn't even contain themselves. Like, brother, you just stop. I ain't even play the whole thing. I can put a link in the chat to the whole thing. Like when he got up there after that, like no.
He even sound like he was lying, like he didn't believe it himself.
He didn't believe it himself. He need to practice that. We need more people. We don't believe you.
I was just trying to figure out how at 8:30 p.m. a child's legs dangling equates to a crime.
The child having two to pick them up, and he's trying to take them.
Yeah, and first of all, that lady had no business on that cart.
Right.
That cart was for the infirm.
Handicap.
Right.
Do a joyride and not watching your children in the back to make sure they're on. it looks clear to me that the child was about ready to fall off.
The
So
upper-
like
Hello,
one commentator said, well, we see somebody getting ready to get hurt. We can't do nothing no more. Because as soon as you try to help, now you got a charge against you.
Well, listen, and it's sad to say this. I see somebody pulled over on the side of the road, and I have my children in the car with me. I even tell them, like, back in the day, you can help a person, and it was very little you get set up, but back in the day, you can help a person, and the help is welcome. Nowadays, you see somebody pulled over on the road, you roll your windows up and you keep on driving. They can wait for AAA.
Yeah, or you'll call now. If I see somebody in distress, I'll call 911 for them. But I'm gone. I'll see that they what kind of car they driving, what they're wearing. They look like there's something going on over there. Go get them. I'm not stopping.
Yeah, I see a man and a woman fighting. I'm calling police. Even police will tell you the most dangerous part of their job is going into a domestic relations dispute.
Yep.
And because they don't know what can happen, and yeah, a lot of them are unalived because of that, because somebody's enraged, whether it's the man or the woman. But yeah, I mean, it don't pay nowadays to help.
Yeah, because look at some of the good Samaritans that, say, for instance, they see a woman getting stomped out, and then they try to intervene. All of a sudden, you got two people at you, her and him.
Yep.
Remember that
people
guy,
that way too.
Remember that guy in Florida? He had just had a little boy. He was married. At Walmart. This lady, her boyfriend, showed up at the Walmart, and they got into it. And he was there with his wife and little boy, and he tried to break it up, and he ended up getting shot. They shot him in the aisle at Walmart and killed him.
Yep.
Now he left. His wife is now a widow and with a brand new baby.
See, that Walmart shootings is not uncommon. There was one in North Carolina, very similar.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy shot the guy, and he died. But good thing it was on camera, because they saw that the shooter was in the right, because he was being attacked. So he was just defending himself. But those Walmart crimes is not uncommon.
I heard that.
Yeah, no, they're not. That's why I like to try to go to Walmart between the hours from the time they open to no later than 11 o'clock in the morning. To be honest with you. Because after 12 o'clock, you don't know what happened. And even in the early morning hours, things can happen. Yes, I understand. But for the most part, you're dealing with the senior citizens.
Yeah.
And where I'm at, they're not doing nothing. But after 12-1, when the young ones come out and want to act up or want to pull out a camera, do dumb stuff in the Walmart,
yeah, it's unfortunate.
I'm gonna try to get. Go ahead, private nobody.
No, just saying that we have to be ever more diligent when we're out and about, because things are going to get worse.
Exactly.
Things are going to get worse when things get scarce, money gets scarce, inflation is high.
Yep.
People are losing jobs. People are become desperate. And when people are desperate, they do desperate measure actions, which oftentimes hurt other people.
Yep.
And right now, for those that are listening to this, you might want to stock up on essentials, because after the 12th, depending on what happens, with the government, with these tariffs, because a lot of the shipments from overseas that are supposed to come into this country are going to be stopped. So then things are going to start either getting scarce or they're going to be extremely high based on demand. So your essentials that you can get, especially those that come from China, you better stock up as much as you can. Just be on the safe side, especially water.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I do-
because those last shipments are pretty much out, but after the 12th, we don't know what's going to happen.
Interesting. You ready to wind down? If y'all have any final word regarding this this Mr. Patel case? Shane, got any final words in the case?
Well, I would say Mr. Patel needs to keep on fighting and keep fighting. It's clearly evident that he was done wrong, and the only ones that still want to believe it at this point are complete idiots.
Yeah.
Well, he has a good lawyer, and as long as she stay on the case, I think he'll be all right.
Yeah.
Although he might have to, he's out now, right? He did get bond?
Yes, he's out now. Yes.
Yeah. So he should be out. And generally speaking, especially on criminal cases, if you can get out and address the case from the outside, that's an extremely good sign that you can prevail. If you go in to court from inside, the chances of winning are slight. So it's good that he's out now. He can come in from the back door, the front door in his suit rather than his jumpsuit.
Right.
And that plays on the conscience of the jury if he has a jury.
Absolutely.
But I don't think it's going to go to a jury trial. They're going to try to either get a plea deal, or she will push for the trial because she knows he's innocent.
Yeah, it should be totally dismissed and they should be dropped. Like he shouldn't have these charges at all.
No.
Yeah.
That's why I said if it comes to trial, they're going to have to enhance those videos, which they have technology to do that. And it will show clearly. Now, what we see is kind of fuzzy or whatever. They can clear that up.
Yeah.
The trial. So it'll be
all right.
So that'll be my final word on that. I think he should be okay.
All right. Thank you, guys. Give me just a moment.
All right.
The Mahendra Patel cases highlights the complexities of the legal system and the importance of thorough investigation. This happens more often than y'all think, and I don't think that women only falsely accuse men. Like I said earlier, they will falsely accuse another woman as well. Anything to avoid accountability. That's what these hyenas do. So if you're watching the replay, what are your thoughts on this case? Have you ever been falsely accused? How did you handle it? Drop your comments down below. I'd love to hear from you. Be sure, guys, to like, comment, and subscribe as well. And we'll see you on the next show. Thank you all for coming by. Have a good night.
Good night.